Prime Minister addresses Fiji Parliament while on official visit. Former Tax Commissioner urges review of national structure. And new appointment for Youth Development Authority.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill is in Fiji for bilateral discussions with the Fiji government. Prime Minister O'Neill and government officials arrived in Suva yesterday and were welcomed with a guard of honor by the local military. No further details were given for the visit, but MTV understands the meeting will be centered on 2018 APEC and parliamentary cooperation between countries Papua New Guinea and Fiji.
PM O'Neill and other government officials touched down late yesterday afternoon at the Nausori International Airport in Suva. He was then given a Royal Guard of Honor by the Royal Fiji Military Forces. Mr. O'Neill was later received by Fiji Prime Minister Commodore Bainimarama at the Grand Pacific Hotel. Prior to bilateral talks, the Fiji Kawa was out for sharing. There, the Prime Ministers were joined by other government officials for a closed-door meeting before giving an address.
It will be quite a busy time for Papua New Guinea, but I'm confident that we will deliver a very successful but very Pacific APEC in November. But it's also an opportunity for many of the businesses, especially in the Pacific, to engage with the leaders.
No specific details were given of the meetings, but it is believed preparations of the 20 APEC summit an effort to further create opportunities for close parliamentary cooperation between the two countries.
So that we can exchange ideas about how we can develop our two countries and two communities.
The two-day visit will end tomorrow. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
And today, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill addressed the House of Parliament of the Republic of Fiji. Touching current trade and investment between the two countries, Prime Minister O'Neill says this relationship will grow and further strengthen. He urged Fiji to engage more with other Pacific Island nations through forums such as the Melanesian Spearhead Group and the Pacific Islands Forum. The Prime Minister also spoke of climate change effects, multilateral issues and free trade, among others. Mr. O'Neill is the second foreign leader to address the Fiji Parliament after Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, in 2014.
We need to ensure that our people travel freely and will work among our countries in the future. There are also economic similarities between our two countries. That is that we need to advance our economic opportunities so that we can advance development in our respective countries. More importantly, our governments must have a very clear focus on building and strengthening the infrastructure which leads to development of our countries.
The second APEC discussion series, to be held this Thursday, will focus on the topic, Why APEC Matters for PNG. The discussions will feature senior analyst of the APEC Secretariat, Carlos Kuriyama, who is based in Singapore, and Ken Waller, Executive Director of the APEC Business Advisory Council. Mr. Kuriyama is expected to talk on the benefits of hosting the APEC Leaders Summit had brought to his home country of Peru and his experience with APEC as a senior government official in Peru's Ministry of Foreign Trade and Tourism. These monthly discussions are aimed at promoting free and open trade and improving sustainable economic growth in PNG. It will be held at the University of Papua New Guinea and is open to the general public. Former Internal Revenue Commissioner Sir Nagara Bogan has reiterated the need for a broader tax base to counter the effects of an ailing economy and lack of investment. Sir Nagara said the taxes must be structured to help spur the creation of new jobs, whilst at the same time widening the collection of goods and services tax.
In 2015, the Tax Review Committee presented its findings to the government. The review was a long time coming and was very much needed. Since its presentation, various aspects of the review have been met with both support and mixed reactions. The chairman of the Tax Review Committee was Sir Nagara Bogan. He is one of Papua New Guinea's foremost experts on tax reform. This week he reiterated the need to implement the reforms which include a diversification of the tax base.
The tax system is struggling to keep pace with the way the country is going at the moment. And we have a lot to basically restructure the tax system.
Generally speaking, Papua New Guinea uses a tax structure that burdens the citizen instead of helping him become self-sufficient. And here are 3 things wrong with the tax system. Personal income tax is too high and the tax base is too small. And this means that only 400,000 people in formal employment are taxed. 400,000 is how many jobs we have in the country. And these people shoulder the income tax burden for more than 9 million other Papua New Guineans. It's like trying to stand a pyramid on its point. Number 2, PNG's tax system doesn't support small business growth or prosperity. And if you're trying to start a small business in Papua New Guinea, there's no real incentive for you. You still have to pay the 30% tax that big companies pay, while the extractive industry continues to get various tax incentives. Number 3, we're not collecting enough from the extractive industry, and this means a lot of other industries have to shoulder the tax burden to cover for the shortfalls.
What I recommended at the time was to de-risk from overdependence on the resource and extractive sector. To me, we can't put all our eggs into the resource and extractive sector.
The Tax Review Committee suggested various solutions. Perhaps the most important is to reduce personal income tax and increase GST. Compared to personal income tax, GST has a wider base, meaning a lot of people pay GST compared to the personal income tax. The committee also wants to see the tax-free threshold raised. And this means if you earn up to 20,000 kina, you won't pay tax. But this remains a recommendation to government that is yet to be implemented. The committee also suggested an improvement in tax administration, which remains largely outdated and problematic. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
The country's watchdog has announced the new retail fuel prices for this month, with motorists given a reprieve with prices for petrol, diesel and kerosene seeing a slight decrease. According to the ICCC, a decrease in world oil prices in the month of June has been attributed to the reduction of maximum prices set for this month. The new prices came into effect yesterday. The Independent Consumer and Competition Commission has announced the maximum fuel retail prices for the month of July. In its monthly advice, ICCC Commissioner and CEO, Paulus Ain, has confirmed a slight decrease for the 3 main fuel products, these prices coming into effect on Sunday, July the 8th. According to the ICCC, in Port Moresby, petrol prices will decrease by 6.7 toya per litre to 3 kina 71 toya per litre. Diesel prices will decrease by 3.61 toya per litre to 3 kina 41 toya per litre, and kerosene prices will decrease by 4.79 toya per litre to 3 kina 12 toya per litre. For outside centres, prices will decrease as follows. Petrol prices will decrease by 6.55 toya per litre, diesel prices by 3.18 toya per litre, and kerosene prices by 4.22 toya per litre. These prices are subject to in-country shipping and road freight costs. These prices have been attributed to the import parity prices for this month, which have been mainly due to a decrease in world crude oil prices for the month of June. Part of ICCC's enforcement and compliance of fuel prices, its investigation officers will be carrying out inspections at all service stations to ensure the new rates are followed. Consumers are advised to report any instances of overcharging by retailers through the ICCC's Consumer Protection Division on 325-2144 or on toll-free number 180-3333 or by contacting the ICCC's regional offices. The New Island Provincial Government signed 2 road contracts worth 10 million kina for the new Trans-Island Highway from south to north for New Hanover. The first contract is worth 9.9 million kina for the New Hanover Highway, which will be built in stages, while the second for the Musau Ring Road upgrading is 1 million kina. Governor Julius Chan, who witnessed the signing, said this is the biggest funding allocation for roads in New Hanover and Musau Island. The New Hanover Road project will run a total length of 50 kilometers and will open up travel and access to the mountainous areas of the islands. For Musau Island, the ring road will be upgraded and maintained. This is Monday's news. We go for our first break, but still ahead, Ramu royalties paid, new machines for Kabum district, and new head of the National Youth Authority. Stay tuned for the details and more. Welcome back to National MTV News. Landowners and the Medang provincial government have received royalties from the Ramu Nickel project. The monies totaling 25.5 million kina are for the period 2013 to 2016 and the first half of 2017. Mining Minister Johnson Tuke and the Acting Managing Director of Mineral Resource Authority were on hand to present the royalties on behalf of the state. From the total of 25.5 million kina, 17.6 million has been paid to landowners from the project area, with the balance received by the Medang provincial government. In delivering the payment, the Mining Minister emphasized the importance of landowners investing in sustainable projects. His call echoed by MRA Managing Director Nathan Mosusu, who advised the landowners on investing in long-term business.
Now today me challenging you black. You black is in big black money, but money by finish nothing. You only make money by finish nothing. Money must go now come so that by you sustaining more stop more yet now you see money.
One plus something misa like looking give me all resource on us is that give me must see big look sabe lol project blow you me. So with this royalty payment, big blood challenge blow you me long. How are you managing this money? You put him on sustainable projects, look out him you yet, look out him all picking any blow you me, or future blow you me, that will be really good. So bestabla hand blow you bla. Lo future projects, me like you me all get a greater participation in all projects blow you me. You me not can stop the sun on collecting royalty. Let us be part owners of the developments.
Kabum Development Authority today purchased 2 new machines to build new roads in the district to a cost of almost 500,000 kina. The machines will be based at Deyamos local level government. An engineer has been assigned to oversee the road construction.
These machines will be used to build a new 18-kilometer road in Deyamos LLG. It will also be used to maintain and reconstruct the roads that were abandoned by previous governments for over 40 years. Member for Kabum and Minister for Fisheries Patrick Bassa said the district will focus on roads in order for the people to access basic government services.
It's almost more than half of the cost of the project erecting one classroom or erecting one or some health center. And it's a double in cost and freight check again. It's very, very, very hard.
The lack of roads have always been a concern for the people of Morobe. Many still cannot access government services due to poor road conditions in the districts. Kabum has 3 LLGs and is only accessible by plane. The Kabum MP says the district will allocate machines to each LLG to link new roads in the district.
Dissolving Kabum district works. Now we concentrate on one LLG. So one LLG, but look at the machine long only at one. So the Mibla engineer went around supervising work. Now Mibla kissing Wombla heavy equipment which will fit up, mechanic where Ember go out and service more the machine long, one LLG. So they will build their own road with the supervision of Wombla engineer.
The 2 new machines for Deyamos LLG were bought to a cost of almost 500,000 kina from an allocation of 1.2 million kina of DSIP funds. The district will buy another machine for Komba LLG when it receives the next payment of its DSIP.
I think we already allocated 500,000 already to buy one machine for them. So Mibla Wambla bulldozer in D6 is working on our road down there. Building road from Kabum to Sadwa, and Bambla just help him long.
Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Lay.
Ruben Ake has been appointed Acting Director General of the National Youth Development Authority, an agency of the Department of Community Development and Religion. Ake's appointment was announced by Community Development Minister Soroy Ewe.
Staff of the Department of Community Development and Religion and their agencies gathered today for the minister's announcement, with Mr. Ruben Akia revealed as the Acting Director General for the National Development Youth Authority for a period of 3 months.
Employment has lapsed on the 8th of last month, and therefore we have to make acting appointment. Acting appointment is basically to hold a fort until government makes a permanent appointment. That's a normal practice.
Prior to this appointment, Akia, a dentist by profession, was a senior officer within the NYDA. With his announcement to this position, Akia provided a glimpse of what he aimed to achieve over the next 100 days.
By 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and they get the full pay of fortnight. Honorable Minister, not under my watch. I want to change that.
Community Development Secretary Anna Solomon is confident that Akia will perform and work as a team with the department.
As the new head of youth in this country, and there will be a lot of expectations on you. 3 months is not enough, but don't worry about 3 months. Just get in there and start doing what you can for God, as you've mentioned earlier, for government and for the youths of this country. Because we can work so much on women and children, but youths, if we don't address youths, they're still going to bring a lot of communities down.
Akia replaces Norit Luyo, who had served as Director General for NYDA for the past 3 years. Lilian Sopera-Kinea, National EMTV News.
9 Mile residents in Port Moresby's Northeast Electorate will soon have access to more vital services after local member John Cowper announced his plans to construct a sub-city. Cowper's plan to construct the sub-city just before the cemetery will follow his initiative to upgrade the Moorabbin Block settlement at 9 Mile.
Residents of the 9 Mile area, especially at the Moorabbin Block settlement, have been living without proper water supply and electricity for years. Many here are employed in the formal sector, and the unfairness of service delivery has been a burden they've learned to live with.
But yet,
the residents of Moorabbin Block aired their concerns to local MP John Cowper recently during his visit to the area to receive the residents' proposal for proper land titles during the rollout of Cowper's urbanization program later this month. Cowper advised the residents of Moorabbin Block to be supportive with plans to upgrade the settlement in order to realize their cry for vital services.
So mibla incorporate him one and plan GDC la walk him one bla SME na one bla sub district blomiso. Mibla walk him long and plan is underway, so 2019 by mibla start.
The MP also announced his plans to construct a sub-city for the growing population at 9 Mile. This plan is expected to begin next year.
Governor na mibla building city na building big house you want up enough. It's about time we come to a break-even point where Mibla must give service back equal settlement. Make it settlement must legalize. Southwest must develop. Give all legally work all mama. All must clean him. Barrett all must clean him road. Now all must at least make him legally money or market blow.
Stacey Yalo, National EMTV News.
Youth in Manus have concluded a rally hosted by the Catholic Church in Tililenu Island outside of Lorengau. The 7-day program brought together close to 300 youth from 6 parishes and was led by Papitalai Parish Priest Father Clement Tala. Manus Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector David Yapu, who attended the rally, encouraged the youth to stay away from criminal activities and assist in church-related programs. On thanking organizers of the rally, PPC Yapu said such events would go a long way in combating the increase in criminal activities within Manus Province. Here with Monday's news, we take a look at stories making headlines overseas after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to Monday's news. Turning overseas now, preparations for a second rescue mission to bring out the rest of the young Thai football team are in full swing as heavy rains threaten the rescue operation. 4 of the 12 boys aged between 13 and 15 are recovering in a hospital after being taken safely out of the cave. Officials say that they are in good health, but the rescue operation was suspended overnight so air tanks could be refilled and also systems along the dangerous journey rechecked.
Yes, well, as far as we know, phase 2 of this operation is not yet underway. Officials needing more time to replace those air tanks along the cave route, and as you can imagine, that is something that they will want to get precisely right. It has, though, all gone quiet the last couple of hours up near the cave. There's a regularly scheduled media conference that hasn't been held that was due a couple of hours ago, and there's no word yet on when that might take place. In the meantime, those 4 boys who were pulled out of the cave successfully, they're recovering at Chiang Rai's main hospital behind me here. Their great escape much quicker than anyone could have anticipated as Thailand and the world watches, hopes and prays that the next group comes out just as successfully and safely. The moment the world has been waiting for in this race against time and the elements. The first of 12 boys airlifted to safety after more than 2 weeks trapped deep underground. So far, it's 4 down, 9 to go. The weakest of the group rescued first. It's thought 14-year-old Mongkol Boompiem was flown to hospital, the other boys taken in ambulances.
I'm glad that a lot of people came to help. A lot of government agencies are helping us. I'm so happy.
Last night, the arrival of helicopters and flashing lights revealed the mission was on. The governor then announcing,
I would like to inform the public at home and all those who've given us support. After 16 days, this is the day we've been waiting for. We are finally seeing the faces of the wild boars.
The jubilant scenes continued on their route to the hospital, roads flanked by cheering citizens and the world's media. The entire 8th floor dedicated to their care. Families of the boys have faced an anxious wait watching the scenes unfold on TV.
I was wondering if he will be all right. I told myself he will be all right, I knew, but I didn't say it out loud. I was worrying too, but I kept my feelings quiet. I haven't been laughing for some time.
Their exact condition is unknown, but one rescuer saying the 4 are doing remarkably well. Those inside the cave have been fed and treated by an army medic. Amid concerns about falling oxygen levels, they were judged fit enough to make the treacherous journey, even though they have never dived before. This man has coached the football team, nicknamed the Wild Boars, for 4 years. It was his assistant who went into the caves with them.
I don't know what I will say when I see them again, but I do know that I want to hug them.
The Thai government saying the operation is going better than expected, with Navy SEALs confident of success, posting this rallying message. Teams have urgently resupplied the tunnels with air tanks so divers can begin another gruelling trek. The first wave of rescue efforts bringing cautious optimism and hope they'll all be reunited with their families.
Rescue organizers stress the mission is far from over. With the incoming monsoon rains, the risk will rise. As far as we know, officials are still discussing the next phase involving the 8 remaining boys and their coach.
Preparing to retrace the nearly 5-kilometre treacherous journey, rescuers clearing boulders and drilling to widen the route. Lugging bulky kit, they wade through a maze of narrow and winding tunnels, some completely flooded. Their painstaking task complicated by pitch-black conditions and a race against incoming rains.
After today, there'll be rains for the whole week, and we don't know how much that would add to the water level.
The core rescue team involves 90 expert divers from around the world, the best of the best. Once they've reached the group, they'll work in teams of 2 with each boy tethered to a diver carrying the air tank. It's believed last night's rescue involved a 1-kilometre underwater swim. The narrowest part of the cave is just 40 centimetres wide. Rescue divers have to remove their tanks. The slightest mistake could be fatal.
You have to let your victim know that they have to stay calm.
for this to come out with a good outcome.
The effort to drain millions of litres of water means they can now walk out through large sections, but due to the threat of re-flooding, other options are still being considered. Engineers led by Elon Musk designing a capsule, a mini-like submarine to carry the boys out.
The world has never seen such a difficult rescue operation. We need knowledge and technology and skills, and the most important thing is the skill of divers who can carry out the operation.
After more than 2 weeks trapped deep underground, the boys' mental health is now a major concern.
Is not so different than returning from combat, that you come back to the same places and the same people, but you don't feel the same.
For now, though, the battle is well underway to save 9 more young lives.
Large parts of Japan are braced for more heavy downpour after record rains caused flooding and landslides that have killed dozens. 100 is the official death toll right now, with at least 40 people missing in the southwest of the country. 2 million people have been ordered to evacuate their homes as authorities warn the downpour could be the worst weather disaster to hit the country in decades.
An ocean where there's meant to be land is how one survivor described it. And with large swathes of western Japan submerged, the authorities say it's a race against time to save lives. More than 50,000 rescuers are now involved in a mammoth emergency operation. These were hospital patients saved by the Japanese military. The only escape from the hospital was either by helicopter from the rooftop or by boat. And here you see why. Some people are reported to be still stranded at the hospital. The record rainfall that caused all this led to landslides as well. Many had no time to flee. The dead include an 80-year-old couple and a 3-year-old girl. And the death toll is certain to rise.
I went to my father's home, but it was hopeless. We were looking for 2 people and only found 1.
It was very scary, but I'm relieved and very grateful for everyone's help.
Shelters have been opened for the homeless. Several million people have been ordered or advised to move from where they are if they can. But the waters rose so quickly that many are trapped with no way out.
Even now, we've not been able to confirm the safety of quite a lot of people, and there are many who are stranded, facing the terror of impending inundation and waiting for rescue.
Nature has delivered this part of Japan a devastating blow, and it's not finished yet. More rain is forecast, and with it, officials say, there's a serious risk of more landslides.
A murder inquiry is underway in Britain following the death of a British woman exposed to the Russian nerve agent Novichok. Prime Minister Theresa May says that she's shocked at the developments which are likely to escalate the diplomatic war between the UK and Russia.
What began as international intrigue with Russian spies and a Cold War nerve agent is now a British murder inquiry.
The death of Dawn Sturgis is desperately sad news.
Police say the death has strengthened their resolve to solve the case.
Miss Sturgis was an innocent member of the public who should have been able to go about her daily life without becoming an unwilling victim in such an unprecedented international incident.
44-year-old Dawn Sturgis is the first fatality from a poisoning incident that began in March. Then, former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter were found slumped on a bench in Salisbury, suffering the effects of the Russian-made nerve agent Novichok. The UK blamed the Russians and imposed sanctions.
Expert scientists have determined is that the nerve agent in this incident is the same exact nerve agent that was used back in March. We know back in March that was the Russians, that we know it was a barbaric, inhuman act by the Russian state.
Russia's always denied involvement. Vladimir Putin reasoning in May that Russian toxin would be more efficient.
I think that based on what our British colleagues have stated, if any military poisonous substance was used, a person would die immediately.
What is it going to take for us to realize that the Russian government, which clearly authored these attacks, what is it going to take for the civilized world to realize that we ought not to be dealing with people who are willing to contemplate and then try to carry out these attacks?
Police believe Ms. Sturgis and her partner Charlie Rowley accidentally came into contact with discarded Novichok, and the priority is to discover how. The pair visited Salisbury the day before falling ill. While officials say public risk is low, concern is growing. One local tweeting Theresa May today that she no longer feels safe.
In New Zealand, a world-first medical breakthrough which could help save millions of lives is being developed by a Christchurch father and son. The 3D molecular scanner produces extraordinary images that will make it easier to detect diseases such as cancer.
The moment of truth.
Oh, well, good luck.
Anthony Butler closing the door on his father Phil, the guinea pig of choice.
It's amazing to think where we started off. I remember our first scans, which were literally of bees.
This is the Mars program scanner.
All good in there?
20 universities, including Otago and Canterbury, have supported their genius idea as it developed in an unassuming back room over 13 years.
Well, I'm pretty pig-headed and a lot of stickability, I guess.
Just look at the extraordinary results. 3D images of his ankles so intricate and unnervingly revealing, they will allow diseases to be diagnosed earlier, saving lives.
There's a possibility to affect hundreds of millions of people in a significant way, and so that's where a lot of the satisfaction comes from.
Smaller pixels and 8,000 times more data means much higher resolution than an MRI or CT scan. It must be amazing to know that you have created the technology that can show us your foot in that amazing detail.
Yes, that's why I'm still working at my age. I'm enjoying it. It really is exciting.
MB has provided millions in research funding. These smaller scanners were the first major milestone selling around the world. You've had fun with what you've put in these scanners along the line, haven't you?
Yeah. The first scan we did on the first one of these, actually part of my lunch. I didn't want to leave the lab, so I ate my apple, wrapped my apple core up in Glad wrap. You can see the teeth marks.
The next step is to scan patients in a clinical trial. What did you think when you saw that image?
Blown away. Yes. We had hints that we were going to be able to do this.
This technology could be in our hospitals in the next 5 years.
We're really looking forward to paying dividends for humanity.
The medical world can't wait for this world-first view inside the human body.
You're with Monday's News. We go for a break. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with cricket, and the CPL PNG Leopards bounced back from a jittery opening performance with a 2-wicket victory over qualifier debutants United Arab Emirates. UAE won the toss and opted to bat first, which saw them recording 83 for 10 in their allotted 20 overs. PNG's chase saw some quick execution from the Leopards, who beat the target with 84 runs with 2 wickets and 1 ball remaining. Next up, the Leopards will meet the Netherlands tomorrow, where they have to be successful for a spot in this group's semi-final. Moving on to Golf, and Oil Search Limited and the PNG Cancer Foundation today launched the Daffodil Golf Challenge for 2018. The event attracted 29 corporate houses last year, and this year's challenge is looking to see a similar number. The Daffodil Cup is now into its 16th year, and Cancer Foundation CEO Dari Toka Jr. says the support from corporate organizations are a mainstay of this cause.
To mark its continuous support, Oil Search today launched the Daffodil Golf Challenge with the Cancer Foundation while contributing 25,000 kina. Since the start of the corporate event in 2002, President of PNG Cancer Foundation, Dari Toka Jr. says the support went from strength to strength to help carry out cancer awareness and education in the country.
But that focus has changed since the establishment of the PNG Cancer Foundation, and we've now reached out to try and do more work based around prevention. Hence, a lot of education and awareness is being done in the communities, in the corporate sector, and of course the schools. So schools is something new that we've started venturing into, and it's making a lot of impact. So,
attracting 29 teams from last year, and even before launching the Daffodil Golf Challenge for this year, some corporate houses have already confirmed their participation. President of PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, Gary Aupi, says cancer today is one of the deadliest diseases affecting the lives of men, women and children.
One of the objectives of the foundation is really to drive that awareness. As you know, cancer has been one that's causing a lot of issues in our country, and trying to, as Ruth mentioned, prevention is better than cure. So it's bringing that awareness to our local communities.
Also sharing his thoughts on cancer prevention and awareness was General Manager Stakeholder Engagement, Leon Baskings.
Our efforts over 16 years is really towards providing a solution towards the fight against cancer. And as we all know, a lot of the cancer challenges are because of lifestyle diseases. We Papua New Guineans are going away from eating our traditional organic food and so forth, pressures from work, pressures from our living conditions. So
the Daffodil Golf Challenge will kick-start on August 24th in Port Moresby. Corporate houses interested to be part of the challenge can contact the PNG Cancer Foundation directly. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
To Rugby Union, and the NCD Rugby Union competition is going into the finals with 2 more rounds before it identifies its grand finalists for this season. The once small competition has grown to 44 teams in the last 2 years. NCDRU President Sibel Druma says the support from both sponsors and participating teams has been overwhelming.
The NCD Rugby Union competition commenced in 2017 as an initiative of NCD Governor Powers Pakop. But the competition has gained interest, attracting teams from all 3 electorates in NCD. There are also teams from the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary and the PNG Defence Force. But the competition is nearing the finals with Southern Chiefs, Royals, Central Islanders and Defence holding onto the top 4 placings in all 3 of the men's divisions. And as the top teams are preparing for the finals, the executives have already organized for the commencement of the Superforce concept, a concept that will be used for the selection of players to participate in competitions outside of Port Moresby.
We've moved into the Superforce. It's the best of 3. This year it's undergone some changes, and we will be launching the new look Superforce in the oncoming days as well too, as well as the sponsors who are coming on board with us. And after the Superforce, based on the performances there, we will select our first teams to travel across to Leh.
President Druma says as the competition gets bigger, areas of improvement have been identified and opportunities to promote the love of rugby union.
All our sponsors for supporting us all the way. It's been a hard year, but they've managed to stick with us all the way, especially to our good governor, Honorable Powers Pakop. As you know, he's got the naming rights to our competition.
After the finals, the competition will move into the Superforce in preparations for the inaugural Trans-Coastal Cup that will be hosted in Leh during the Independence Week in September.
We're reviving all the traditional rivalries that used to happen in rugby union, and we're reviving those again. So it's going to be very good, especially the fact that we're taking teams across to Leh, and we're going to wake up rugby hopefully through the Trans-Coastal Cup.
Tekla Gunga, National, MTV Sports.
And don't go anywhere. Trukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To golf now. Ryan Fox has suffered heartbreak and joy all in one after finishing agonizingly close to winning the Irish Open. He has secured himself a spot in the Open Championship next week.
Millimetres away from the biggest win of his career.
Oh no.
Ryan Fox in disbelief and forced into an Irish Open playoff with Scotland's Russell Knox after the pair finished tied at 14 under. Knox getting to the number with a remarkable birdie at the 72nd hole.
It's got a chance. Well done. What a fantastic putt by Russell Knox.
The pair headed down 18 for the second time in a few minutes. Once again, Fox found himself closer. Once again, Knox found himself 50 feet away. And once again...
It's looking good again. It's looking good again.
Oh, he's done it! I don't believe it! It meant the Kiwi had a similar putt to the one he played in regulation from the other side of the hole to extend the playoff.
Look, I feel right. I mean, I hit two great putts on 18 and one grazed the edge and one came back at me. So, look, I'm happy. I hit the shots I wanted to down the stretch.
While there's slight disappointment, it's tempered by another significant achievement. Fox's top three finish qualifying him for the Open.
Look, I'm happy and it's a bloody nice consolation to get into the Open Championship.
His final round of 4 under 68 included 4 birdies and an eagle, the perfect tune-up for the challenge of Carnoustie.
I've played it a few times before and done all links and it's been set up pretty easy and I've struggled around there, so hopefully an Open treats me a little bit better.
Fox takes home $1.14 million for his efforts and rises to around 87th in the rankings and now heads to this week's Scottish Open, ideal prep ahead of his 5th major appearance.
Meanwhile, Korean Se Young Kim has smashed the women's 72 all-scoring record on the LPG Tour.
31 birdies, 1 eagle and just a double bogey in the week, with her last round of 7 under 65, soaring her past Annika Sorenstam's previous record of 27 under.
She's a record breaker. Se Young Kim shatters the all-time LPGA record.
I know it's an incredible score. I would have never thought of I shoot the 31 under.
Kim won the tournament by 9 shots. Lydia Ko finished in a tie for 23rd at 14 under par.
And that's all for Trukai Sports this evening. We go for a break. When we come back, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby, cloud with some rain expected, the same as well for Kerma and Popondetta. Windy and cloudy for Daru and Alotau. To the Momasa region, cloudy and rain expected in Leh and Wau. Some cloudy weather with some showers expected as well for Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with some showers expected for Kevia, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. Some showers as well for Lorengau. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mandi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect some rain and drizzle tonight with early morning fog developing. I'll look at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours, but first there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerma, Yule Island, Hood Point, to all Milne Bay Islands, to Finchafen through Vitias and Dampier Straits, to Siasi Island, to Long Island, and West New Britain to Manus and its western group of islands, including the Solomon and Bismarck Seas. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerma, Yule Island, Hood Point, to Samurai Island, and waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samurai Island to Cape Bogle to Finchafen, seas 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Finchafen through Vitias and Dampier Straits to Siasi Island to Long Island, seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 1 to 2.5 meters. Waters of East New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1 meter. And waters of West New Britain, seas 1 to 2 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea sees rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 30 knots. Solomon Sea sees rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 30 knots. Bismarck Sea sees very rough with southeasterly winds at 25 to 34 knots with strong wind gusts at 48 knots. And the Pacific Ocean sees slight with southeasterly winds at 5 to 10 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And to end the news, a recap of our top stories this evening. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill addresses Fijian Parliament while on official visit. Former tax boss says a restructure is long overdue. And National Youth Development Authority has a new head. And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday the 9th of July 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.